Welcome, welcome one and all to the on-air programming voted most hated by the outrage junkies. Boy, am I proud of that. The Triggered Tribe, intellectuals masquerading as human minds. If the social justice warriors could burn a show, this would be one they'd throw on the top of the fire heap. Buckle up. It's Brian. I'm in, and very glad you joined us for today's ride. So what do you say? Let's get ready to MortalUP. Good morning, one and all, and welcome to episode 480. It's hard to believe how time flies. I mean, really, it's hard for me to believe how it flies. Episode 480, thank you all for sticking with us as long as you have. And if you have been sticking for us for a while, you know what this is. That is the song of course, that's the kickoff to our 20-minute victory. Look, we know Al Gore broke the web or built the web. We just don't want to be tagged with the ones that are breaking it. So until all the Meshuggah ends, I promise you I'd bring Yiddish if I had to. Till all the Meshuggah ends, we're going to go to a 20-minute victory, 20-minute programming, 20 minutes to be your cognitive bodyguard. I'm Brian. Hello. Thank you for joining us. We've got so much to get to today. You know, it's something when you go, oh, running a 20-minute victory. Yeah, and then you think there's just so much going on in the world. It's nearly impossible to get it all in. And especially when it comes to the low-life making headlines. It's sometimes you get over on Twitter, you get on Facebook, or not so much on LinkedIn, but Twitter or Facebook, and you just go, there's so much content. This is the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive. You go, oh, what do you pre-show? What's your prep? I go, prep? Are you kidding me? This stuff writes itself, and you'll see what I'm talking about today. But we've got a lot to get to, including a low-life making headlines. As I said, we've got to get to that. We've got some cool things and a little bit of a programming note. So why don't we go ahead, see if we can't get to that, our programming note, and then we can jump into the rest of the show. I do like that second one, that second little handgun or whatever it is, the second drum going off there. This is our breaking news for today. You know, we talk about this all the time. And you know I'm Gemini. And you know I'm schizophrenic. Or at least Janice, two minds, right? Or you got two brains, one pre-surgery, one post-surgery. And I came out of the surgery, and as you know, I'm kind of just like, let's focus a good bit more on MortalUP. Let's focus on what we can do. And then you get like Al Pacino in The Godfather. You try to get out, and they draw you right back in. Well, that's what I'm up to. So maybe the people here can help. Please let me know at MortalUP.com what you're thinking about what we're doing. But I can't escape it, right? It's like it's a political poltergeist that follows me wherever I go. So, you know, you try to be kumbaya. You just asked to be left out of it. And then they got to go ahead and they got to pick a fight, right? You're just going to be all kumbaya. And I go, look, if you ask me to get back into the ring, we're going to do some kick ass. I'm just saying, can you leave me be? I'm very happy, just, you know, in my own little world, doing my own little thing, hitting my prayer bowl. You know what it's like, doing my own little thing. Oh, but no. So they just got to keep gnawing at you till you jump right back in. And that's our breaking news kind of story for today. Little bit of a programming note about what we'll be doing. Now, if you've followed me at all for a while, you know this whole concept of Liberty's line in the sand, something that I've been working on, something that just bugs me because not so much for me, right? Because you get to the point where you go, hey, I'll be able to work it out. But I'm doing this for my kids, your grandkids, mind if I ever get any while I'm still here, right? That kind of thing. I'm doing it for them because here's the thing. I begin to think that our Constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, if you go back before that, right? But it's been a great humanist document. It's been a great set of ideals for everybody, planet over. So this isn't just for the people here in the United States. This is for everyone. I think the idea, whether expressed or left out, right? If you're going all Ninth Amendment on you, expressed or left out, it's a great idea that those unalienable rights they're yours. They're not given to you by a government. They are, right? They're yours. So whether expressed in these documents or left out, they're still yours. And one of the things that I've started to realize, we were talking about my kids, and yesterday we threw up this post over on Mug Pamphlet, aka Facebook, in case anyone's listening. We threw up this post to basically say, look, those documents, I grew up believing that those documents were doing a great job of protecting us. But now I've not only have I begun to believe, I'm absolutely certain now is the time to start protecting them. Because with all this craziness, with the COVID-19, coronavirus, what I saw one the other day, the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP virus, the Wuhan virus, whatever you want to call it, tomato. I think it's on us now to protect these documents. And more importantly, I don't care what you do to the documents, right? Oh, maybe the archives would be like all upset if someone actually tried to set them on fire. I imagine so. But the underlying ideals of those documents, of the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the right to be free, is a great universal concept. And I think for our children, we're running the risk of losing that. So when I talk about getting back into the fray, when I talk about once again getting back into it, it's with this concept in mind, that they're doing everything they can. Who's they? Pick, right? It starts with the housing association. It works up to mayors and then sheriffs and then governors and then the legislative leviathan, the bureaucratic behemoth, all the way up to senators and House of Representatives, up to the Oval Office, all of it. And I've said before that little minds, right? When you think about big government, it doesn't live at some distant capital. It lives in little minds. Little minds want big government because it's their way of starting to feel better about themselves. Well, I've always wanted power. I'll tell everyone I'm a public servant. I'll run for office and then I'll have the power, right? It's unbelievable. So that's why I've said all these years that big government lives in little minds. So what are we going to do now where all the different things, all of our rights, maybe not all of them, you still have the right to cut your grass maybe in some areas. I don't know, although I hear they're now talking about getting rid of leaf blowers in case it's blowing the coronavirus around. But our rights are being attacked. And if you go, Bri, I can handle that, groovy, but why not do something now so that our kids don't have to finish the fight for us? That's all I'm focused on, is that maybe it's time to get back into the fray. Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more to quote little Billy Shakespeare, to get back in for them. Maybe not for you and me. Do I believe you and I, we could handle it? Absolutely. Do I believe that we're asking them, if we don't do something now, we're asking them to finish a fight that it was ours? We're asking them to handle the mess we've created by surrendering to all this craziness. So, like I said, just when I want to get to the point where I'm like, I think everything's going good, they go ahead and pull all this. So now we're back in the fray. Liberty's line in the sand. And I've said, I know you've heard me if you followed me all these years. Where's your line in the sand? What do you refuse not to let anyone cross? So at the micro level, it's what you decide to entertain in your own mind. But at the macro level, we got people now taking pictures of license plates. If you go to church, there's this all kinds of crazy. I saw a video the other day of a couple patrolmen chasing a guy down running on a beach. Then I thought to myself, well, we've been running for predators ever since we got kicked off the savannas of Africa or evicted from the Garden of Eden. We've been running from predators. So what difference does that make? But really think about it. We're asking our kids to stand up. If you go out to a restaurant and someone starts giving you a hard time, do you send your 6-year-old over to handle it for you? If you get into an altercation in a parking lot and someone dings your car because they're rushing to whatever, beat you to a parking spot, one spot closer to the front door on a beautiful day. And don't even get me started about all these things where people are hijacking handicapped parking spaces. You see them get out. They're built better than I am. Oh, but they got a tag from a doctor. Their mom's doctor said, oh, hey, you're handicapped, so now this asshat's driving the car right? So in any event, I don't want to even start on that. What I'm simply saying is, would you let your 5-year-old son or daughter finish the fight? Some guy decides to throw down because he hits your cart. Would you ask your 5-year-old, excuse me, let me unbuckle you from your child seat, right? Let me get the buckle. Would you mind going out and dealing with this guy? Well, that's what we're doing. If we decide that we can continue to be pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, then what we're saying is when the backlash comes, we're going to be asking our kids, our nieces, our nephews, our grandkids, we're going to be asking them to finish a fight that was on us. We're the backlash. Why postpone it? If you don't like some of the things that are going on in the world today, here's your chance to stand up and don't make your kids and your grandkids fight the battle that you and I were absolutely well equipped to do. All right, speaking of battles that we're well equipped to do, I can't wait to get to today's, well, you know what's coming. All right, let's just go ahead and cue it up. Lowlifes making headlines, or as we like to call it around here, brains that make your blood boil. Here's your brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine for today. All right, you know them, you love them. Brittle brains atop balsa wood spines. Oh, and you know what I should do? I borrowed this, as you may know, from yesterday's post. Borrowed this from my son. This is the mask that I'll be wearing from now on. When I go, everyone says, oh, you got to wear a mask. A little sun yesterday. Everyone says you got to wear a mask. You got to wear a mask. So I'll be wearing this one. How's it look? I'm going to adjust this a little bit. I'll be wearing this. And people say, whoa, Bri, I think they wanted the mask to be down over your face. Oh, so I'm sorry. The politicians want the masks, right? The government officials want the masks to be worn properly. I saw a press conference today. Some mayor somewhere is giving a press conference. Everyone behind him's got the mask on. He's trying to talk through the mask. He sounds like this. Except for the person sign languaging. They're right up there within the 6 feet, I would mind you. She has no mask. No mask whatsoever, but it's good for everyone else. So here's the mask I'm going to start wearing. And you're like, Bri, why would you do that? Right? There's a mask order. You're not supposed to go out. You need to wear a mask that fits properly. It protects you from sneezing and breathing and all these other things, right? Why would I do it? Well, our lowlife making headlines for today, you know him, you love him, Chucky Schumer from New York. Here he is. Oh, I wear a mask all the time. This brainiac doesn't even know. Now, let me ask you a question. This mask, right? That's right. I'm trolling for a compliment. This mask. Which one do you think protects the people around you better from a sneeze? Come on. There you go. Mask A. Get it? Mask A or mask B for this brainiac? Oh, I wear a mask wherever I go. Well, here's Chucky Schumer. I'm sorry, does that mask have his nose covered? Now, agreed, he's got a schnoz like Jimmy Durante, right? I got you going with that. But does that mask have him covered? No. So when he gets the memo on how to wear the mask the right way, then I will. It's that very simple. But here's the guy writing the laws. Here's the guy, a part of the team that writes the laws. Here's one of the brainiacs, the brittle brains atop balsa wood spines, the brains that make your blood boil. Here's the guy responsible for crafting some of the laws that you and I are going to be held to, and he doesn't even know how to wear a slip-on mask. And you're asking me, well, Bri, why is it fair? Right, and there's a ton of them out there today, but why was it fair to pick Chucky Schumer? And saying he doesn't even know how to wear a mask? Well, let me tell you, these lowlifes making headlines, they write themselves. You just can't make this stuff up, which is why I say this is the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive. So look, all joking aside, you and I know it's on us, right? Our rights are being trampled. All for what? A protection from what? An insurance policy from what? All right, we got to do what we can to make sure that if we're sick, we stay home. If you're one of the people that's worried about being pulled down, you stay home. But for the rest of us that either aren't worried or we're not sick, and we would never dream of infecting someone else, as I said yesterday morning show, I went to a store to try to get a brace, and I ended up sneezing, right? People ran up to me with a cross and holy water. I saw a lady bite a clove of garlic right in front of me. Why did I sneeze? Because they have 55-gallon drums of antiseptic right? The smell of Lysol. I made it 3 feet inside of the sliding doors to the pharmacy, and I think I'm allergic to disinfectant. I really do. Everyone's scattered. So here's the deal. If you need to stay home, stay home. You don't like the idea of going out and about, don't go out and about. But for the rest of us that want to get back, we don't want our economy tanked. For goodness sakes, our sense of freedom and liberty, we don't want that destroyed for future generations. Then be scared, stay at home, and get the hell out of our way. I'll tell you, it's too easy to get disappointed and going how quickly people surrender their freedoms. How quickly. I got into a little bit of a debate this morning of both sides, both the left and the right side of the aisle. I got into a little bit of a debate about, oh, can you believe this one doesn't even know the Constitution? That one doesn't even know the Constitution. Look, none of them know the Constitution. Do anything you can to study. Randy Barnett, a professor, I love all of his books. I've read all of his books, taken his classes, listened to him stuff, but he's just the tip of the iceberg. Read some of the people that say we haven't had the Constitution the way the framers intended it for 150 years, 175 years or more. So everyone wants to get up in arms today and scream, oh, can you believe they know nothing about the Constitution? Nobody does, apparently, because we've been living by something other than the Constitution. So if we want to return to the original intent, what the framers meant about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, we talked about the Ninth Amendment before, right? Just because it's expressed in the Constitution doesn't mean that all those they thought to leave out, they thought to leave them out. Those rights, those inalienable rights, they thought to leave them out because they couldn't imagine a time when we would elect a brainiac that would go against those natural rights. Think about it. The framers were like, there's no way in hell they would ever think to impose upon these rights that the people have. So let's just not even express them. It's crazy, right? Who would do that? Well, who would do that? There you go. Our lowlife making headlines for today. Little Chucky, excuse me while I sneeze. At least I won't have it run down onto my lips. Schumer. They're going to do what they can. And we have to do what we can. That's all I'm suggesting, is that let's not make it so that our children and future generations, whether it's our family or our friend's family, let's not make it so that they have to end the fight for us. It's on us. Now, you know, people say to me all the time, well, do you mean there's going to be a civil war? No, it's not. Look, I posted yesterday a quote by Frederick Douglass saying whether it comes to words or blows, one or both maybe. Frederick Douglass, a sharp guy. I'm not suggesting that. I'm simply saying let's do what we can to keep our freedoms intact. There's enough attacks going on already just in the normal course of business when it comes to the Constitution and what the framers originally intended. So we have to do what we can to protect ourselves from the people running around making the rules. Who does this guy think he is, the mayor of the city of Chicago? Oh, no one's allowed to go out except for me to get my hair done. Oh, everyone's got to wear a mask except for me. Got to be able to smell where I'm going. He's not even echolocating like a bat. There's got to be a joke there. Is he like a bloodhound? He sniffs his way across Capitol Hill. He hasn't been there long enough. I'm beginning to believe, and then we'll go ahead and get out of here. I'm beginning to believe that if you serve more than 2 elected terms, you're a part of the probe, and we should get you out of there. 2 things that we should work. Let me just get this out real quickly before we go today. One of the things, so how are we going to turn this around? One of the things we might do is we say, oh, line item veto. Second thing, term limits. Do not trade your vote. No quid pro quo. Do not give your vote to any politician that doesn't sign in writing that he or she, once in office, will do everything they can to support term limits and everything they can to support a line item veto. We do that, and I think we're beginning to steal back our children's future. That's just my thought. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much for joining us, as I said, for show 480. Oh, and could I ask a personal favor? Pretty soon we're going to move all of our video content. Right? If you want to watch the show, there'll be commercials across social media platforms throughout the day, but we'll be heading over to Counterpunch Media over on YouTube. We'll go ahead in the show, put a link up to that episode. So if you get a chance, head on over there, subscribe. If you like what you see and you want to be able to see it, we're moving all of our programming over there, again, in an attempt to not break the internet. We don't want Al Gore coming after us. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so very much. Don't forget, head on over to MortalUP.com. Leave us a message. Let us know what we can do to help. And we will be back bright and early tomorrow morning once again. Have an absolutely fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow.